Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a comparison video for you. And today we're taking a look at a couple of cold steels, the Swift and the Recon 1. This was a requested video. And so since the time of the request, I've been sort of thinking about and humming and hawing about how I wanted to do this and thinking through in my head some of the points that I wanted to make. So here we are. Let me add one quick thing before we get into the video. And that is, you know, I make it no secret that I'm a bit of a cold steel fanboy. I do feel like, you know, when it comes to just high utility folding knives for a decent price, they really come through. And, you know, so I've got to give a lot of credit to Cold Steel and the choices they make about the knives that they're going to make. Okay. Now, I like their knives. That doesn't mean that I endorse everything that Cold Steel does, okay? They've got some really foolish videos out there. They've made some really stupid business choices that I feel like are really frustrating or make me want to like them less, but they consistently deliver knives that are really well done and offer really good performance. So because of that, you know, I still find myself drawn to Cold Steel in terms of what they're delivering for products out there on the marketplace. Okay, now having gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and very quickly touch on the fact that, you know, these two knives are similar size, similar priced, similar, you know, in many ways. And so I think it's worth comparing them, and I could definitely see someone looking at both of these and wondering which one to buy. And clearly someone is, as I mentioned, this was a requested video. So let's go ahead and get started with size and weight, and then we'll work through all the features that we normally work through to come to a conclusion about which one of these is the best, or at least to give you enough information to decide which one you would prefer. So let's go ahead and start with the Recon 1. This is definitely a large knife, a little larger than the Swift. Comes in at 9¼ inches overall, 3 7/8 on the blade, so just under 4 inches there, and weighs in at 5.3 ounces. The Swift, on the other hand, is going to be 8 5/8. It's going to have a 3 5/8 inch blade, and it's going to weigh in at 4.7 ounces. Now, one thing I didn't really talk about is grip area. Let me grab a ruler. I've got one just nearby here. And let's go ahead and grab the grip area on these two. So we have 4 inches on the Swift, and on the Recon 1, we've got, well, basically 4 inches. Now, both of these kind of offer the option to choke up and put a finger here or here, right? Like this or like this. The Recon 1 definitely offers a lot more area. So if that's something you're looking for, that's going to be considerable. But both of them have fairly large grip areas and fairly large handles overall. All right. So in terms of size and weight, I guess, you know, this is really one of those things that's a little tough to call. I guess you're getting just a fraction of an inch more blade length on the Recon 1, but it's not really, in my mind, enough to make a difference. You're getting, you know, 0.5 ounces, 0.05 ounces, I guess, or 0.5 ounces difference in weight, which to me, again, you know, this at 5.3 versus 4.7, they're both so close to 5 ounces that, you know, not really worth, I guess it's 0.6 ounces that I should be saying there. But they're both so close to 5 ounces that it's, again, in my mind, too close to really make a big determination. So I'm going to call size and weight a tie, with the one sort of qualification being that if you close these knives up, the Recon 1 is going to take up just a little more real estate in pocket. Again, it's not a lot more, and for that reason, I don't feel like it's enough of a difference to, you know, say one is really better than the other, but the Recon 1 is just going to take up a little bit more space. Okay, so what about the blade? Well, the blades here are both 132 thousandths thick. The Recon 1 is in S35VN, which all Cold Steels are going to be moving forward. The Swift here is in CTS XHP. Now, this is kind of a weird discussion to have because there are lots of Recon 1s floating around out there in CTS XHP. Again, there are lots of Swifts out there in CTS XHP, but both of them are eventually going to be S35VN. And really, in all honesty, guys, the performance of these steels is very good. And really, for me to say that one is vastly superior to the other is not really going to be fair. You know, if you want a detailed comparison between these two, go check Cedric Canada, Gear and Outdoors. But as far as I'm concerned, these are both high performance, you know, high edge retention, great steels. And I absolutely love both. You know, I feel like, I don't know, I've gotten really good performance out of both. I'm trying to think in my mind, do I want to make a determination here? And in all honesty, it's too close to call, okay? They do have slightly different properties. CTS XHP, in my experience, is going to at least feel a little bit harder and be a little harder to sharpen than S35VN. And may not fully translate into edge retention. So that's about the only thing I can say, but both of these are great steels and I really like both. In terms of edge geometry, both are quite thin, both slice very well. And if you take a look at these two blades close together, you can see the Recon is a little bit higher in terms of its grind, but not so much that it's going to make a difference. The other very slight difference is in the dimension behind the edge. The Recon 1 is 27 thousandths behind the edge. This is the flat ground version, remember? The hollow grind may be thinner. The Swift is going to be 30 thousandths behind the edge. So, you know, we're literally splitting hairs at this point to try and claim that one is all that much better than the other. I'm going to suggest that you might get just marginally better slicing performance out of the Recon 1. Now, the one place where they do differ a little bit more is on the amount of belly. Now, of course, remember that there are a couple of variations of the Recon 1. We're talking about the clip point. The drop point would be probably more similar to this, and then, of course, the Tanto's in a completely different ballpark. In terms of, you know, how I use my knives, I like that little bit of belly quite a bit. Okay, so I just, from a utility standpoint, slightly prefer the amount of belly on the Recon 1 and slightly prefer that little bit of extra height that I get there, making the Recon 1 just, as I say, almost imperceptibly better at slicing. So in that regard, I suppose we've got to say the Recon 1 blade is just marginally better. And I guess we'll declare a win there, but it's a hesitant win because, as I say, it's just so close. All right, now the next category is going to be a little bit different. Now, obviously, these both have the triad lock. Both are actually quite nice in terms of, you know, the smoothness of them. You know, they'll almost drop shut. The big difference, of course, is going to be the assist on the Swift versus no assist on the Recon 1. And I will say this, the Recon 1 here, now this is fairly new. You guys, if you've seen my video discussion of this, you know it's only a few months old. So it hasn't really broken in yet. But so I can't quite, at least reliably, let me try this on camera. It's going to be a disaster, I'm sure. Yeah, so you can see I can't quite flick this open. Now, when I'm not on camera, when I'm not, you know, getting a tripod in my way and having limited space to work, I can flick this open, but obviously the assist opens much easier. So what is my take on that? You know, how do I feel about assists? I realize they're not that popular, and I'm not actually sure why. I think it's because some people have a hard time closing assisted knives with one hand. I get that. However, there is a utility benefit, and I can tell you this happened to me not that long ago. Actually, it did happen a few years ago now, but I was getting a bunch of stuff out of my car. I had my hands full. I had one hand free, and when I went to get one of the things out of the car, I realized it was tangled into a piece of string that was back there. So it just so happened that I had my Zero Tolerance 0300, which I don't have anymore, but that's what was on me. And because of the assist, I was able to get it open really quickly and really easily and make that cut. And I thought to myself at the time, you know, maybe there is some utility benefit of having an assisted knife, you know, and the same would be true, you know, if you're wearing thick, bulky gloves, if you're, you know, involved in some emergency service where you might need that blade, where you might just need that little extra help and that, you know, maybe you're having some manual dexterity challenges, okay, that little extra assist could be something that makes a difference for you. Now, that's a whole lot of what ifs. So while I would suggest that there is a utility role to an assist, that it can open more quickly and more easily in some cases, you know, am I going to try to claim that it makes it so much superior? No. And am I going to try to claim that it makes it way worse? Again, the answer is no. So I've got to actually declare this one a tie, just based on, the only differentiation is going to be your own personal preference. Do you like an assist or do you not like an assist? Now, let's move on to the handle. There's probably a little more to say here. You can see the 3D contoured G10. One, it looks really nice. It's very, very smooth, very, very comfortable in hand, which does make a bit of a difference, okay? The Recon 1 has the standard grip or brick pattern that Cold Steel uses, and it is very, very aggressive, okay? Lots of people talk about sanding this down or whatever. It does tone itself down a bit over time just from use, but it's really, really, really aggressive, and it will make cause a problem for getting it in and out of pocket. Okay, that's a significant difference. Outside of that, however, I have to say that both of these are very comfortable in hand, really, really useful. Really, really ergonomic, and can do a lot of cutting. Like if you've got you're going to be cutting for the next hour and a half or something, both of these are going to serve you really, really well. The one area where the Recon 1 sort of outshines the Swift is in this deep, deep choil. So if you're doing any kind of thrusting where there's a chance that your finger could slide up onto the blade, the Recon 1 is going to do a better job of protecting you from that. Not that the Swift doesn't do it at all. Now, to balance that out on the other side, I've got to say the 3D contouring on the handle feels fantastic. It really does. I love the cutout for your thumb up here. There's just a lot of things ergonomically that the Swift really gets right. And for that reason, I got to give just a slight edge to the Swift and say, it gets a win on the handle design and handle construction. It's just really, really well done. Okay, so overall, what do I think of these two knives? Well, it's no mistake that I think both of these are fantastic. And if someone, sent me a message or mentioned in a forum or on Instagram or something, hey, which one of these would you prefer? Or which one is better? I'd be like, dude, both of these are awesome, awesome knives. And it's really just a matter of personal preference. Which one do you like the look of better? Which one do you like the blade shape better? Which one do you like the feel of better? Because both of them are really, really going to perform well for you. And of course, that difference in one being assisted and one not, that's going to make a difference as well. In terms of my own personal preferences, I guess I lean just slightly toward the Recon 1, more because of nostalgia, because this was one of the knives that got me interested in knives. It's one of the knives that I feel like can function in a lot of different ways in terms of, this could be a defensive tool. It could be, used out in the bush. It could be used on a construction site. And this could do most of those same things as well, but maybe just not, especially in terms of a defensive role and really locking your hand in quite as well as the Recon 1. Overall, of course, I love both of these knives, and I enjoy carrying and using both of them a great deal. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope that gives you enough information that you can kind of figure out which one of these is more for you. I'd love to hear your comments down below with either your own thoughts on any of the points I've made or about your preferences about which one of these you prefer and why that would be. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well, since YouTube doesn't care about subscribers, and we will talk to you soon.